Let's get into the 49ers versus Jaguars, Mike. The good news is that the 49ers are not coming off. Well, I guess they are coming off a loss, if technically, but they didn't lose this past weekend, due to the bye week. And one thing that I find interesting about this matchup is that the Jaguars are also coming off a bye. So it's like both these teams had a week off to prepare to like clash against one another. And, I've got PTSD from like the past three opponents. I think the Browns might have been coming off a bye going into the Niner game. I want to say I don't know if the Vikings were, but I think who did we just lose to this past week?
Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals were coming off a bye. So, the Niners keep playing against these teams that are absolutely like being fully prepared and rested right before playing them. And luckily, hopefully this week it can be the Niners that are on the side of being rested. But, the complicated factor is the fact that the Jaguars are also going to be. The Jaguars are, a really solid football team. I think they have the same record as the Niners at 5-3.
They're 6-2.
They're 6-2. Are they?
It's a four-way. Well, going into this past weekend, week 9, it was a four-way tie in the AFC for all four top division leaders: the Chiefs, Dolphins, Jaguars, and Ravens. Now the Ravens beat the Seahawks, which helps you guys. The Chiefs beat the Dolphins, but the Jaguars, obviously coming off a bye, they stay the same.
Mm-hmm. The Jaguars are 6-2. They're a really good football team, and I want to say they might have won 5 in a row.
They're probably on a streak. I feel like they started kind of slow.
They did start kind of slow. I think they were like 1-2 at a certain point.
Yeah.
But Trevor Lawrence is, he's very similar to the past two quarterbacks that the 49ers faced in Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow, in that, he'll drop back and actually be able to hit receivers outside the numbers, sling the ball around and play, pretty solid football. The thing is like, sometimes Trevor Lawrence can make a mistake here or there. Like, I don't know if it's just the games that I watched and, he's just been, young in the NFL and still getting used to the speed, but, he might make like a decision here or there or a throw here or there that's just like, I bet he wish he could have had that one back. Right.
Yeah. For a first overall pick.
That's typically every quarterback.
Yeah. But for a first overall pick that had so much hype, you would hope. Was he or Burrow chosen first? Like which year, I forget who came first.
Burrow's older.
Okay.
Yeah. Burrow was the draft before.
Yeah, but still, like, I haven't seen Trevor Lawrence play up to his draft standard, I feel like that hasn't come yet. I feel like the Jaguars have been really successful through Travis Etienne this season. And I didn't fully expect that, honestly. And I thought this was going to be the year where Trevor Lawrence like breaks out, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, I think he's playing well. Like, if we're talking fantasy football, he hasn't broken out, but like,
right.
I actually think that he's playing like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Probably, but the fact that I'm saying probably is what I mean. Like, I should be saying definitely. You know what I mean? Like, for first overall pick, like to break out, like last year, maybe 2 years ago, Joe Burrow broke out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, oh my God, dude, this guy, he's going to be the next great thing. Josh Allen breaks out. Oh my God, dude, he's the next great thing. I have not seen that from Trevor Lawrence yet. And maybe he'll get hot as the season ends, right? But I feel like he has played, and bear in mind, like, I haven't watched a Jaguars game in some people might watch this and be like, well, that throws out that theory. But I see the stats. I follow through, yes, fantasy football and other things. And I don't know. I haven't been impressed yet. I haven't been like wowed. And hey, this is his chance to do it. That's for sure. But I don't know. I feel like I would be seeing more from him. And maybe the Jaguars just don't have the same, media, you know, magnet, if you will. Like okay, New York, right? If a quarterback plays good in New York, we will never not hear about it. If a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys plays good, we will never not hear about it. We don't hear shit about the Jaguars. You know what I mean? Unless they're like the 1 seed. And they're tied for the 1 seed, or they were. And yet I haven't heard anything about him. So maybe it's just the media is not good with them. And, forgive me if so, but I don't know. I feel like he would be a guy who's like, if he were breaking out or had broken out, he'd be like a must start in fantasy. And I know, like, oh, I shouldn't use fantasy to like go off of that. But if he were a top quarterback in this league, he would be a must start every week, and he's not.
Yeah, I mean, you could make the case for Lamar Jackson not being, like Lamar has back-to-back weeks with like 10, 11 points, but he's still like an MVP candidate because his team is, just like he is the quarterback on the best team, and or at least one of the best teams, arguably the best team.
Right. I think like, okay, Lamar Jackson's MVP season, he just took over games. And he's done that a few times this year, but there are also games where he's not taking over. His MVP season, he did every single week. And yes, he's winning, and winning will help him get there. And again, I said it last week. He could be in the race. But also, my key thing was last week, nobody has broken apart from anybody else as far as who should be the MVP. Like, Patrick Mahomes hasn't done anything this season to me that says he's got to be the MVP again. He hasn't. I think right now, to me, the leading candidate for MVP is Joe Burrow because he's on a fucking tear right now.
Yeah, I would have to take Joe Burrow as well.
And statistically, and if this guy gets hot as the season ends, Josh Allen. But right now, whether it's through games that I've seen and also being on primetime and beating Josh Allen, Joe Burrow is getting very hot right now. And he's also getting the press of like, oh, he started the season hurt, but now he's healthy. And oh boy, Joe Burrow. Again, you're not going to hear anything about that with Trevor Lawrence unless he goes nuclear 3 weeks in a row, right?
Yeah,
and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to dig on Trevor Lawrence. Like, he's a fine quarterback and everything. I'm just saying, like, he's not breaking out, taking control, winning games for the Jaguars. He's just doing enough. He's essentially a very pretty field general right now. No offense. Like, I'm saying he's like above that. He's above a field general, right? But that's what his stats tell me.
I just think that Trevor Lawrence plays in like, he plays
his level
in
of competition isn't as high.
That, like, he doesn't. I feel like he doesn't throw a lot of like deep balls. He doesn't throw a lot of balls. Yeah, I know he can, but like I'm like struggling to think about a play where like Joe Burrow Trevor Lawrence like absolutely aired it out over the top and like scored like a long touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
he's missing that, but he's very good at, like I said, he makes very impressive throws outside the numbers or, sometimes in tight windows, and he can actually run. His running ability is very underrated.
Yeah, I'm sure he's made many beautiful throws, tight windows, all of that. I just haven't seen him, And I feel like if this were a clear-cut MVP candidate or something like that, or a broken out, first overall guy, I would see those, But It's again, it's the
I'm not
Jaguars.
saying he's an MVP candidate. I'm
I know.
not saying
I forgot we weren't talking about MVP for him. It was more of just X first overall pick, breaking out, yada yada. But
mhm.
uh,
In
I will
comparison to the
say,
rest of the draft class, he's clearly the best one.
oh,
Clearly.
yeah. But I think as far as his case goes, um, it seems like the Jaguars are not a team that's dependent on him, whereas a team like maybe here and there, the Ravens might be. Definitely the Bengals and Bills at times depend on their quarterbacks to make insane plays. 3rd and 10, Joe Burrow gets wrapped, or not wrapped up, but he gets multiple 49ers defensive linemen's hands holding his jersey, and somehow he gets out of it and throws it to T. Higgins on the run. That play was insane. That play was an MVP play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other quarterbacks can do that. Like, it's not the play that's going to get him the MVP. It's going to be consistently doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the only guy right now that's consistently doing it. And again, back to the Jaguars. This team is very much going through ETN from what I see. And again, Trevor Lawrence is fine. He's good. He might be great, but he hasn't shown that. But it's a good team. This is a good team, and they don't need to depend on Trevor Lawrence to throw 4 touchdowns a game, right? And that's probably what's doing that and what's causing that. He could break out at any moment, but they don't need him to. So
they're a good team with a smart head coach, a Super Bowl winning head coach at that.
Yep.
Mike, tell me what's your take, your prediction for the way this game is going to play out, and then I'll talk about. I'll gear the rest of the commentary more towards the Niners because I feel like we just sort of went on a
Trevor Lawrence
Jaguars,
tear.
Trevor Lawrence tear.
Yeah, as the season goes on, we'll probably start talking more about like MVP and all that. But where is this game being played? It's in Jacksonville. Yeah. Oh boy. I wish I knew what you were picking. Oh man. I also wish I looked at like a stat of like what is Shanahan's record coming out of the bye week, because I know Andy Reid's is like 99 out of 100 he's going to win the game. I don't know what that is like with Shanahan, but the same could be said for Doug Peterson, right? They both are coming out of the bye, and yet the Niners are the team that have to travel. They have been a pass funnel on defense. But I think they're going to be healthier. And I think that they can limit Travis Etienne better than probably most teams that have faced the Jaguars can. I think I'm going to go with the Niners. I think they're finally going to bounce back after 3 straight losses. I do not expect 4 straight.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. I know I just killed the suspense right there, but I think that having this week off came at like the perfect time. I think maybe a week sooner might have helped a little bit more in terms of like helping their chances of getting the 1 seed in the playoffs. And the Niners just need to win football games in order to keep that hope alive. And it starts this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the person who needs to make the most improvement this week is Steve Wilks. He needs to we need to see if he calls the defense a little bit differently to have the corners force the quarterbacks to beat you over the top instead of giving them just all the space in the world to complete short passes and then have these long sustained drives. Because I was listening to Larry Krueger and Grant Cohn earlier, and Larry was sort of talking about how the 49ers are they're playing so so off the ball and allowing quarterbacks to get into rhythms, and he would like to see the Niners sort of force teams to challenge them deep. And I would like to see the same thing too. And I understand the logic of if you get the offense to run more plays and eliminate the chunk plays, they're bound to make mistakes. But really, I think when the only option they have is to go deep, I mean, those are deep balls are way lower percentage, plays that are going to be hit, and then this defense is talented. Just a year ago, Talanoa Hufanga was an All-Pro. Tayshaun Gibson has some of the most turnovers in the NFL, at least for somebody. I know he's a veteran, but let me see how many career turnovers. Tayshaun Gibson turnovers. Let me see here. Career. He's got 33 career interceptions. I think that's pretty good.
No, that's great.
That's fantastic. And in how many years? Hold on.
It's been around.
In 165 games. 33 interceptions. I still think that's
probably around he's probably on year 10 or 11 in his career.
Yeah. Well, let me see.
If not 12.
How many years has Tayshaun Gibson been? I wish when you Google something, it just gave you the straight up answer.
Right. Yeah.
He's been in the league since 2012, so this is year 12. Year
11 or 12.
11. Yeah, 11 or 12.
Because it's 2023, so it's at least 11. But it might technically be 12. I don't know.
Yeah, because the 20. I mean, what?
Because 2022 would be like year 0 essentially.
Or 2012 would be. Well, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, so it's year 12. He's
That is a veteran.
Yeah. It's late at night when I have to use the fingers to count. But going back, I do predict that this will be the week that the Niners finally do make the adjustments. And if they don't, they're in a lot of trouble because the rest of the schedule is going to just get harder. And I mean, the 49ers are a team where, if you back them up against the wall, they've proven that they can, they can fight their way back. They had their back against the wall in 2021, 2022. And, obviously every year is a little bit different, but, the main core of guys are experienced in this position. The only two that are not, I would say, are Steve Wilkes and Brock Purdy. And they play very pivotal roles in this team. If you had to distinguish what's the difference between this team and the 21 and 22 teams, it's the defensive coordinators are different. The quarterback is different.
And they're also not in relation to playoff history and previous history with the team, but right now they're probably the two guys with the most eyeglasses on them because they're struggling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, we have to see Purdy eliminate the turnovers. I think for the most part, Purdy's playing well, except for those turnovers that just absolutely game's over. You know what I mean? The 49ers have unfortunately put him in the position over the past 2 weeks and really 3, but Purdy did lead what would have been a game-winning drive against the Browns, but he played bad. He played badly against the Browns. You know what I mean? But against the Vikings and against the Bengals, there were opportunities late in the game, and Purdy just gave it away. And you could chalk it up to his concussion. It doesn't matter. He was on the field. If you're on the field, you have to play you still have to play football. They don't give you a handicap, because you're a little banged up. And if you're banged up to the point where it's hindering your play, your best bet is to stay off the field, especially if it's a concussion, because you don't want the second impact.
Mm.
But Purdy's I think fully recovered from that, and he had the bye week to really rest. The Niners should be getting Deebo Samuel back, which will help spread out the field. I don't know if they'll be getting Trent Williams back. I hope that if he's not 100% or anywhere near 100%, that they just hold him out another week and try to, Kyle Shanahan, you've had a week to prepare. I don't know if you just need to buy a poster board from Walmart and, carry around a bigger play sheet, because that's what you just look at the entire game. But I would like to see a lot more creativity, pre-snap motion, not just with Kyle Juszczyk, but I would like to see Deebo go in motion and take a jet sweep here and there. Back in 2019, you used to even run jet sweeps with Kittle, or not jet sweeps, but it would
Motion.
be Kittle would go in motion and take a handoff. That doesn't really happen anymore. Kittle's just primarily a blocker now, and then occasionally we'll go out for routes. And the offensive line needs to play better, primarily the right side. It's going to be a challenge to see. I think Aaron Banks is going to be out this week and possibly next week. So that's another big thing to look at. They're going to be playing with, besides Jake Brendel, how many of these offensive linemen would actually start on other teams?
Yeah,
if you don't have Trent Williams, I don't think Colton McKivitz would start anywhere else. I don't know if Spencer Burford would start anywhere else. I think Jake Brendel might be able to start somewhere else. He was a Pro Bowler last season. Aaron Banks not being in, I think, leaves it up to John Feliciano to step up in his place. Yeah. Feliciano did start last season, right? A couple games for the Bills.
Probably, but he was probably their backup. But I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. Here's one thing that we didn't touch on as far as the Jaguars go, and it's something that definitely needs to be brought up. Although I find the Niners offense to be one of the top offenses in the league, and it's definitely been their strength this season. But we haven't talked about the Jaguars defense, and really, there's not many well-known players on their defense. They have Josh Allen, which you automatically think about the Bills quarterback, but Josh Allen is a guy who I remember the Raiders taking Clelin Ferrell above, and I was like, sitting there like, oh my God. But let's just look at what they've done this season. What has the Jaguars defense done this year? Week 1, Jaguars 31, Colts 21. Week 2, Chiefs 17, Jaguars 9. Week 3, Texans 37, Jaguars 17. So far, not so good. Okay. In London, Jaguars 23, Falcons 7. That was a good game for the defense, but the Falcons are kind of weird. Also in London, Jaguars 25, Bills 20. Now, maybe being in London might be a part of that. The Jaguars got to stay in London. The Bills were coming to London, obviously, that week. But still, you limit Josh Allen and the Bills to 20. That's pretty good. Beating them alone, that's pretty good. The following week, they didn't have a bye. Or maybe they did have a bye, actually. No, they're coming off a bye now.
Yeah, they're coming off a bye.
They're probably the one team that left London and didn't get a bye. Jags 37, Colts 20.
Did the Jaguars leave London?
Well, yeah, in that game, yes. Because I'm seeing underneath both of the scores for the Falcons and Bills, it says NFL London games. Colts game, nothing.
Wasn't the Jaguars, didn't they play back-to-back London games?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Bills and the Falcons. The Falcons game was a home game for the Jags. The Bills game apparently shows that it was actually a Bills home game, even though I would have figured it would be the Jaguars. But and then the Jags against the Colts shows that it's a home game for the Jaguars. And I'll just click on it, and it says, why? At Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville. And that was literally a week. It was October 8th against the Bills, October 15th against the Colts. So they're on a win streak now, 3 games, Falcons, Bills, Colts. Following week, the 19th, they beat the Saints 31-24. And then 2 weeks ago, or no, last week, as of today, Monday, whatever day it is, they beat the Steelers 20-10. Steelers offense, I don't know, but they seem to have gotten a little uphill. Like you said, they started slow. They started 1-2, and they've gone on a 5-game win streak. So, and again, I don't really know many players on the Jags defense, but it seems like their defense is capable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think, oh man, having Debo back, I think is pretty, is a huge factor because defenses can't like hone in on Brandon Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey.
yeah.
Because for whatever reason, Shanahan just like doesn't drop that many plays for Kittle anymore. Like, you're paying the man to make an impact, and he is making an impact blocking, but like that's not the sole reason why you pay a tight end.
Mm.
So I would like to see them get Kittle more involved, so that way, you want the defense to spread out, so that way they're not just clogging the middle and waiting for Brock Purdy to, throw a floater over the middle.
Yeah. Seems like Andre Cisco is having a good season for them at safety. Let's see here.
I really feel like the key to the game is limiting the damage, that the Travis Etienne is inevitably going to, produce.
Yeah.
And really we need more aggression out of the corners.
Yeah. You want to talk about an first overall pick that has not broken out? Completely forgot about him. Travon Walker.
Who?
First overall pick. Yeah, exactly. Travon Walker. I believe the second. Mike Jones. Okay, let's see. What the hell? Wait. When was he drafted? Let me search him up. Travon Walker. Okay.
While you search that up, I don't know if the Niners will be able to fix their run defense by the end of the season. Like I know
run defense or pass defense? Sorry.
No, their run defense. I feel like they can fix their pass defense, and adding Chase Young absolutely will help as long as they don't open the floodgates for the short passing game.
Mm.
But their run defense, I was listening to Larry talk about it today, and and Grant talk about it, and they talked about how they essentially traded away a bunch of their pieces that they had in the past for Javon Hargrave. So instead of re-signing Jimmy Ward, who was a run defender, instead of re-signing Samson Ebukam, instead of re-signing Azeez Al-Shaair,
yep,
you know what I mean? All guys that definitely
roles.
helped.
Yeah.
Huh?
They played roles.
They played roles, and Hassan Ridgeway was also a good run stopper. Javon Hargrave, he's a really good pass rusher, and I'm not saying that he's not a great run defender. But he's getting paid to rush the quarterback, and uh, you know, I think the unit as a whole has been struggling. And I'm just tired of the Niners, paying people top dollar to not produce. It happens to everyone.
Yeah, and
Like,
especially when you put it in that sense of, yeah. Well, I think when you put it in that sense of, one player for four, that makes it really tough when he's not killing it, play in and play out, right? Like you could have those four guys that were making plays, not all the time, but they were making pivotal plays here and there on this defense and helping in run stopping or even in the passing game, right? And now you just have a defensive tackle who probably more than half the time isn't getting to the quarterback, obviously, right? If he was getting to him half the time, he'd have insane numbers, but that's tough on the defense. So,
yeah,
and then now, you trade for Chase Young. It's like you could have had all those four guys and traded for Chase Young to help on the D line. It's like, what's the difference if you think about it? It's a big difference.
mm-hmm. I said something, and it's just like something that's like, low key bothered me over the past couple years. But it's like as soon as we pay, our players, they just like, all right, see you later. Thanks for the memories.
Goodbye to
Like,
that intensity.
yeah, and I'll go down this list because I just want to right now. Eric Armstead, Debo Samuel.
Mm-hmm. Would you
Um,
say Kittle?
George Kittle. Let's see.
I feel like Kittle's been mostly impacted by injuries, though, and
Yeah,
a lot of
but
talent around him. I
still,
don't think he's ever.
you get what I mean. Like they don't, and it's not Kittle's fault. And
Yeah,
some of these players, it's not their fault. It's like they're kind of phased out of the game plan.
but
But it's
I
like,
get it. Yeah,
uh, I'm trying to think of who else. It's really late. I'm super
Nick
tired. And the
Nick
daylight
Bosa.
savings. Who?
Yeah,
Oh, that
Nick
guy?
Bosa.
No, just
Yeah.
yeah. Which player is that again?
It's the defensive lineman. I believe he's number 90. Is it 7? 97 or
I don't know who you're talking about. He doesn't show up on Sundays. There's a guy
I
who
think
kind of looks like him.
he kind of like goes like this sometimes.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think I do remember a little bit. Yeah,
Like
that
this is
that
kind
guy
of
was.
this is what we do when we're asked who's Nick Bosa. We go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey,
Hey
just really
Nick.
quick. Go ahead.
Hey Nick. On those sacks that you've gotten this season, how many defenders did you beat? I don't know. No,
I don't know, but I don't
I mean,
care. I'm getting paid.
I really like Nick Bosa. I'm just like, every single time we pay somebody, it's like, Garoppolo.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Malcolm
I saw that
Butler.
one. I saw
Or
that
was it
coming.
Malcolm Smith? No, not Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm Smith.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Jerick
You are
McKinnon.
tired. Yeah, yeah. Did you guys pay Carlos Hyde?
No.
I was talking about Trayvon Walker earlier. 2022 NFL Draft. The players that were picked after him: Aiden Hutchinson, Derek Stingley, Sauce Gardner, Kayvon Thibodeau. Then a bunch of offensive tackles: Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, so on and
He
so
was
forth.
the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, it was not expected. It was supposed to be Aiden Hutchinson the whole way, and then like 3 days before the draft, it was like, well, there are rumors that the Jaguars like Trayvon Walker, and it was like, oh boy, and they did it.
I don't know if I've ever heard his name in my life. No offense to him.
I'm sure you did when the draft happened, but he was so forgettable. He's from Georgia's big, great defense, but he was more like a Cleveland Farrell, like a good run defender, not great pass rusher. And that's exactly, it seems statistically, like that is the case.
Trayvon Walker, I apologize if you ever watch this video, and I just want you to know if you do see it and you kick the Niners' ass, I understand. This is a really good show, so I understand that you, took your time to watch this show. So I appreciate it, and tweet about it. I'd really appreciate it. I'm so tired, Mike.
I mean,
I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah, go ahead and put it in there.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah, it should be a good game though. I hope it's a good game, right?
Jaguars. I think it'll be a good game. Like I said, you have to limit Travis Etienne because he will just get going, and he only gets better as the game goes along. He's one of those running backs. And then
I think this can be, but it may not be, but it certainly can be a very high scoring game.
Oh, I get 100%.
Yeah, I could see a big high scoring game coming on here.
Mm-hmm. Or it can be a get right game for the 49ers. Not necessarily a get right game, but like they need to get back into 49er football ASAP. You know what I mean? And Jacksonville. All right, let's see like the remaining schedule before we get out of here. 49ers schedule. All right. Niners schedule. They've got the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. I think they'll be able to beat the Buccaneers.
Yeah, at home.
They've got the Seahawks.
In Seattle, looks like, is that a Thursday night game or?
Yeah, it's a Thursday night game, I believe.
Is that Thanksgiving then?
Is it? Oh,
I think it is because it's my mom's birthday, and usually she falls right around Thanksgiving. So,
no, it can't be Thanksgiving. No.
We'll look up. I mean, the Cowboys would be on Thanksgiving or the Lions. Yeah, you guys have a Thanksgiving game. I know that. I remember because you have Thanksgiving and Christmas. It
is Thanksgiving. Isn't... Oh, yeah. Thanksgiving is supposed to be the... Is it supposed to be the last Thursday of the month? Or is it supposed to be...
If the 4th.
Oh, okay.
The 4th.
I'm just so used to Thanksgiving being like...
It's right usually the last, but sometimes it can be out of 5.
But okay, back to the schedule, so we can get out of here. Niners versus Eagles. That's going to be a tough
Seahawks. One. At Seahawks, and then you get 13 days of rest or whatnot at Eagles, but then you come back home, Seattle, and then go to Arizona, which. I mean, they're going to have Kyler, potentially James Conner as well. They're going to be at full force for once. And Chris.
Fuck, man.
Wake up!
I hope the Niners don't play the way that I'm treating this segment. And if you've watched this far to see me like struggle to get through it, it's 12:30 in the morning. Daylight savings. It's supposed to be 1:30 right now.
Yeah.
Okay. It's supposed to be 1:30 right now. I'm chugging along, and I got a long day tomorrow. So I appreciate you for sticking with us. All right. It's not looking that bad, actually. I thought it might be worse. I just saw the Ravens, I saw the Eagles, saw the Seahawks, but really outside of that, like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's Jaguars, Eagles, Ravens, that's pretty tough. Jaguars, then again, I could see them being not fakers, but like a team you guys should beat. And then 2 games against the Seahawks is really interesting. You guys win at least one, if not both. It's the Eagles and Ravens for me that are like, oh shit, like look out. Now, I don't think the Buccaneers, even the Cardinals, should be slept on. the Rams at the end of the season, they might be a team that's not interesting for like the playoffs, but like they can win games, right? I think all these teams, other than maybe the Commanders, might give you fits at times, but you also should beat most of them. Like if I'm looking at all these, it's what, 9 games. I would say you guys should win 6 of them, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So 6-3, and right now you're what? 5-4.
5-3.
Okay, so
that would
you
put
have
us
6
at 11,
losses.
11-6. I don't
That's
like it.
good, but it's not the 1 seed. But I think at that rate, you'll win the division. It's really just a matter of what does Detroit do. Does Detroit kick you guys down to the 3rd seed, potentially even the 4th seed if who else? The Saints or Falcons or Bucks, they're not going to win 11 games, so you'll have the 3rd seed locked. But that makes the divisional round tough because you're going to go and face probably Detroit in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Do they scare you? I don't know, but it's not at home.
Well, it doesn't matter if they scare me or not. It's the Niners who's got to play them.
Right, but
no, I get what you mean. Like, yeah.
You said it best earlier. The Niners need to win. They just need to win.
They absolutely just need to win. Like, they need to take care of what they can control. And right now, it's against the Jaguars. And, you know, the ball is in the 49ers' court. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Maybe not for the 1 seed. We'll see. But the only thing they can control is what's in front of them. So, yeah. Christmas might suck this year.
Yeah, the Raiders play the Chiefs on Christmas. I'm hoping for a Christmas miracle, but I don't expect it.
What do you say, Mike? You and I run out to the store and grab some extra eggnog this year.
For You're going to say like a noose.
No, I didn't want to go that dark. I just wanted some eggnog. Mike ruined Christmas.